Our garden bench has seen better days. Maybe you've got one like this too. Let me show you how to fix it. I picked up this bench on the side of the road a few years ago, sanded it down, and it worked fine until this year when it broke after all the snow melted and my kids went to sit on it and it had enough. So it was time to take this thing apart and rebuild it. And I'm going to show you how, with just a little bit of elbow grease and a few pieces of new wood, you can make it look all new. We had all of the helpers here taking this thing apart. It was a great project on a beautiful day. The kids used a wire brush to scrub off all the rust on the metal pieces, and then we primed it with a rust stopping primer first before I grabbed some glossy black spray paint and sprayed it down, give it a fresh new coat of paint. One quick tip for you: if you get any spray paint on your fingers, grab a can of WD-40 and spray it on your fingers, rub it around, and it will dissolve the spray paint off your fingers. Then you can just wipe it off with a paper towel or wash it with soap and water, and the spray paint will be gone.
Okay, while the metal is drying from the bench, the spray paint is drying on the metal, it's time to work on our new planks. Now, I chose to use cedar. I like the look of cedar as an outdoor wood, but they come in these 1x2 sticks and they're really rough. So they've got quite a bit of rough texture. One side is a lot rougher than the other, so I'm going to use the smooth side on the top, but I do need to smooth out the rest of these so that we don't get splinters in our butt when we sit down. So I've got some 80 grit sandpaper here, and you can do this with a pad sander, do it by hand, whatever floats your boat. But I'm just knocking off all the splinters and giving a smooth surface to stain. And watch that you don't get splinters in your fingers as you do it. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about cedar. So I think raw cedar is gorgeous. However, cedar does a funny thing, especially outside, called silvering, and it turns gray really quickly. Now, I'm not greatly opposed to gray, but I don't want this to weather really fast and just look like the bench we just replaced. So what I'm going to do is stain the boards, the cedar boards, just to give it a little bit of color. That way, as they age, if they turn a little bit gray, they'll still have some color to them. And then I'm going to seal it with exterior sealer. Now that's why I've got these all separate. I didn't reassemble the bench yet because I want to get on all the sides and get this a really nice layer of protection before we reinstall it. So I picked up some walnut stain, and that's what we're going to color these with. I love these staining pads. They are very inexpensive. They're super easy to use. It's like a foam pad inside some terry cloth. Grab a glove and let's get started. So again, I am going to do a layer of stain on all sides. Nothing super precise or specific, just a nice even layer. And like I say, it'll give it some color, goes with the exterior of our house, and will be just a nice addition to the garden. Okay, these are all done. I'm gonna let them sit for a couple hours and then I will top coat them.
And no, these boards did not magically get wider. I realized after I had stained and top coated the first set of boards that they were too thin. So I got some new boards, cut them down, restained them, and gave them a top coat. What you'll want to do is a total of 3 coats of exterior top coat. I used General Finishes Exterior 450. You apply the top coat, let it dry, and then sand it with 400 grit sandpaper between coats. It gives it a really nice smooth finish. Then I took my drill with a drill bit and drilled holes in the ends. This is where the bolts will go and fit right down through. Pre-drilling prevents the wood from cracking. And I also used a countersink so that the bolts would sink down in and leave a flush finish. And now it's time to put the bench back together. You really just put it back together the same way you took it apart. I did get all new screws, so they were fresh and were sure to grip the wood really well.
Y'all, I'm such an idiot. This bench has almost kicked my rear end. Let me tell you the second mistake that I made. The boards on the seat are not all the same size. So I had to cut them all the same size and tried my hardest to attach them, and it wasn't working until I realized they're not all the same length. So learn from my mistake. Get a board or 2 that are in good shape. We kind of broke these off of here, so we didn't have a lot to measure from. We could have measured before we started taking them apart. Measure your boards and then go out from there. These a little wider as they come out. So I cut the boards already. I'm gonna stain them and finish them for the 3rd time and get my bench back together here in just a minute. After 58 trips to the hardware store, I'm gonna do this. Show you in a minute. With a little perseverance, I saved this bench from heading back to the trash where I originally found it. So the next time you see one of these benches destined for the landfill, grab it, put some new wood on it, and finish it the way you like it. And it's a great place to sit. So don't forget, you can check out this playlist for more fun and easy building ideas. And don't forget to subscribe. I wouldn't want you to miss the next project we have coming up. Thanks so much for being here, and we'll see you next time.